Hi, Alicia. Thanks for joining the show today. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and journey in UX design?
Sure. So I actually started out as a product manager after I received my master's degree. And I remember sitting back and really digging into the problem space and spending a lot of time on understanding who the person is that we were trying to build this product for,
Yeah,
and really loving the whole process of going back and forth and wireframing things out and interviewing people to see if that was the right solution. Um, and one day my manager pulled me aside and said, Alicia, so you're not a great PM,
Oh,
but we think you'd make a really great UX designer. And from there, I really just knew that this was where I wanted to be, solving problems for people and
right.
just digging into how can we kind of further along the products that are out there, the make the problems that people are encountering um, better through some of the solutions that we're bringing to the table. So um, and from there, I've hopped around to different organizations, started out in academia, moved into higher education, insurance, uh, pharmacy, and now I've kind of found a little home in finance at JP Morgan Chase. Being able to hop around to those different verticals,
Yeah,
you really do get to hone in into your craft and really understand the value that you're bringing to the table as a designer. Because in those instances, you are not the SME, you are not the person that knows everything about pharmacy. You don't know the history of why this claim it takes 2 weeks to process, so all of that you have to rely on other people. But what you can bring to the table is really, understanding the different patterns that you've seen across the table, whether UI patterns or, patterns in how you organize the people. These are all things that you can kind of bring to the table that is really your strength within this situation by hopping around to those different organizations.
Alicia, so you're also a co-organizer for Ladies That UX. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization and what you're up to with them?
Yeah, so I work with another co-organizer, and we represent the Chicago hub. Ladies That UX really is an international organization, and I think at its core, we're representing two things. One of them is really that community and getting to know other people within UX, and especially women within technology is such a niche space.
Yeah.
But being able to support each other throughout this process is really, really important. Um, that being said, we're also an organization that recognizes the importance of allies. So um, men and women, of course, and others can come to any of the events. We're just here to celebrate that there is diversity in the UX community. So we definitely run the gamut of different types of events. The next one that's coming up is pretty exciting. We're going to have it in a week and a half or so. And we're really going to dig into this topic of ethical design, which is so ever present in the world today. Um, if you think about diversity and inclusion in everything that we do, um, it's uh, it's more of a challenge for us as designers because those the products that we've created have this history and background that are very cis white male designed. And so we are essentially trying to uncouple that. And so the topic that we're going to dig into is around paternalism and contingent design. And what I mean by that is, we're no longer the people that are kind of at the front of the room and telling you what a good design is or what the right thing to do is, right? We're almost flipping everything, whether it be from the classroom perspective or from the end user's perspective. It's the end user that should tell us what's the right thing to do. And, you know, I think the same goes with contingent design. We're thinking of what are the situations that are popping up where we're designing for an emergency situation. And maybe we've just thrown something into the backlog that kind of works. But what can we do to really think more holistically about the designs before they get into action so that we're not creating situations that could cause somebody harm in the future? Unpacking those different situations, and I think the event itself will really get into that dialogue and make that not necessarily a an instructor-led discussion, but really get everybody involved, because this is something that we as designers face on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And we want everybody's opinion on how to make that better.
So let's go back to the industry you're in now, which is banking and finance. What's going on there, and what are you focused on designing in that field?
Yeah, so right now I'm in a very special place within JP Morgan. I'm able to work on products that service people that build products. So understanding, the software development lifecycle and how long it takes from concept to market. These are all things that I'm really concerned about, and looking to partner with the people that build products in the organization on getting better at. And I think that's a really interesting lens, because so often as designers, we're focused on improving the lives of the customers and making sure that the customer feels better, or that the time that it takes a customer to check out is shorter.
Yeah.
But I once had a leader who said to me, Alicia, the experience of the customer can be no better than the experience of the employee. And if you think about it just for yourself, that's so true, because if you've had a bad day and you have to turn around and start smiling at a customer, serving them coffee or whatever it is that you do in your day-to-day, it's going to be much harder if the things that you've encountered in your life have been very frustrating. So we focus on things like the ServiceNow platform, where if you are running into a problem with your machine, you can submit a ticket and somebody will help you take care of that.
Obviously, things have changed in the past year with COVID, going remote, and the field's rapidly changing already. Where do you see this going as we look forward?
Yeah, so obviously there have been a lot of shifts within just our day-to-day, but as designers, something that's really popped up for us when we're conducting our research is the methods that we're using. And back in the day when we were in the office, particularly when we're looking at the employee's experience, we're able to go in and really observe what's happening within the office and
right.
watch them move applications around and get up to get coffee. We can see them in their environment and be that little anthropologist sitting next to them. But that's definitely shifted now, where we're no longer able to do things like contextual inquiry very effectively. One thing that we've really looked at doing is using more unmoderated methods as a result, where I'll send out a survey and we've got a couple of questions that relate to a product that we're working on. And I think one very interesting thing is that we have seen a much larger response rate when it comes to those methods, and I'm able to collect a lot more data than I was before. So, typically those kinds of surveys, you get a 5 to 10% response rate internally, and now we're looking at somewhere around 50%.
So you're also an instructor. Can you touch on teaching in the UX world?
Yeah, so I adjunct at Columbia College, and I'm going into year 2 now. And it's been an interesting step into the world because partway after my first class started, we moved from that in-person lecture and really hands-on experience where we could dig into design thinking exercises together to an online experience. But I teach interface design and experience design at both the undergraduate and the graduate levels. And it's really great to like get down in the weeds with the students and help them understand how to solve problems and to move that process forward. And I think for me, it's really helped me hone in my craft as well, because through explaining and trial and error and watching my students go through the same trial and errors, I can then apply what I've seen to different situations. And it just, everything goes full circle. And the more that you can get that hands-on experience giving back to the community in that way in your design career, I think the more that you grow as a designer as well.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Alicia. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been great chatting.